You're listening to the DisneyVerse Podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode number 2 of the DisneyVerse Podcast. We are live today on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining us here today. This orchestra music means only one thing, and no, we're not asking what you are wearing this evening, not any Armani or any type of Gucci outfits. Today, we are talking about Disney's influence on the Academy Awards. Everyone knows the Academy Awards are starting up next week. Of course, it's the same day as the Winter Olympics closing, so that's going to be an interesting ratings debacle. But nonetheless, the Academy Awards are happening next Sunday. So we wanted to kind of get a little bit of a look at what Disney has done for the world of animation. And, of course, what better way to do that than to be our special co-host, as they usually are, Miss Terry and Miss Vicki. What's going on, girls? Yeah, and your volume's a little low.
No, there's something wrong with my system. I'm playing with it right now.
Okay. Well, keep playing that so Vicki is standing by there. Terry, are you there? Terry is not there. Oh, well, we're going to keep going on there. But anyway, Terry and Vicki.
Okay, can you hear me better now?
I can hear you barely.
Technology.
I like...
For me for most of the intro. I
What?
hope you can hear me.
I can hear you barely. Very, very low.
Dang.
Very low. But anyway, we'll keep looking away. They're working on technical difficulties. But folks, thanks so much for joining us here. This is episode number 2 of the DisneyVerse Podcast. Of course, this is the Academy Awards, Disney's impact on the Academy Awards. And we have a lot to cover today, not just on that, but we do have some news on Black Panther, and we do have some ways to look at maybe construction ending at the Disneyland parks and Disney World parks, as a couple lands are opening in the next few months. So, first things first, I do want to do a little bit of housekeeping. You notice on the left-hand side, we have some new buttons on the screen. And if you notice, there's a button that has Google Play and Podbean. We just got partnered up with Google, so we are now on Google. So each and every time this podcast is completed, you can still archive the podcast on YouTube, but you can also hit us up on Google Play. And Google Play, you can listen to this podcast as well. You can also download the podcast, and you can go back and listen to all the archive. We're going to archive every single podcast that's on there, so there'll be a great way to listen to the show on the go. Also, Podbean. Podbean's another hosting tool. It's a really great tool for anyone who's just starting a podcast. A lot of plans are free. Some are a little bit of a premium cost, but nonetheless, they are there for your convenience. Of course, the best way to get in touch with the program is hitting up via Facebook. Facebook.com/DisneyVerse is the best way to get in touch with the program. Also, if you like to send us an email, DisneyVersePodcast@gmail.com. I guess DisneyVersePodcast@gmail.com. And, of course, hit us up on Twitter. DisneyVersePod is the way to contact us via there. I hear breathing, so I think we may have some back.
Can you hear me? Hopefully.
Okay, now I can hear both of you guys, but then the audio kind of crapped out. So I'm going to try this again. So we're going to go ahead and hang up the Skype call. I'm going to call back. So hang tight 1 second. I'm going to keep the show going. So we're going to try it. Hold on. So in any event, sorry about the technical difficulties, folks. We're still trying to work things out. This is still kind of a new show, so we do apologize for that. But one of the great things about the Oscars that we kind of go with and everything is the fact that the Oscars really are the Oscars are one of those nights where you will watch a movie or watch an entertainment and you don't really know what the movie's about, but at the very end, you'll be like, oh, I want to go see that movie. So Disney has a really long history of the history with the Oscars. They really have a lot of in-depth there. So I think we have someone back on the line. Who do we have?
Terry.
Okay, you guys are, it's still really, really low, but we'll just go with it. So basically, girls, we were talking a little bit about the Oscars and Disney's influence on the Oscars. And, you know, obviously we have our select movies that we like. We like, you know, there's different movies that are nominated for Best Picture. There's different movies nominated for, you know, screenplay and music. Disney's always got a movie that's in the consideration for Song of the Year. But, you know, really, animation really can be put with the thanks to Walt Disney. What do you guys think?
Oh yes, no question about that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think they certainly do. And certainly, folks, we do apologize again. The audio is having still some difficulty here, but we're working on the details on that. So, we do apologize. So we will talk a little bit more about the Oscars here in just a moment, but we do have some Disney news that we want to kind of talk about here as we start the show. Black Panther. Black Panther was the latest installment of the Marvelverse movies, and there was a lot writing on this movie, considering with some of the last few opening weekends, some of the superhero movies from Marvel ticking down just a little bit, still making hundreds of millions of dollars. Don't worry, Disney, they're not getting rid of Marvel Universe or anything like that. They're not getting rid of that anytime soon. But there was some discussion. I mean, they were like, okay, what do we got here? So Black Panther said, hey, you know what? We're going to go ahead and take care of things. So Black Panther sets some President's Day record weekend. They earned $75.8 million on its very first day. That's not the weekend total. That's just day one. As it stands right now, with everything that's being projected, this movie is slated to make between $218 and $222 million domestically. Internationally, if you include all the countries that got the release on opening weekend, we're looking at about $337 million. So this is going to by far set the President's Day record for biggest opening to a movie on President's Day weekend ever.
That's amazing.
And you guys, it's still hard I'm trying to make the audio work here. So I'm hitting like every button and everything. So obviously, you know, this is a big deal. I mean, you have Marvel, you have the Avengers still playing strong. You got you got the Avengers movie coming out later this year. So this movie was really to set up the next premise of the Avengers movie franchise. So, you know, that's one thing we will talk about next week when we actually discuss not next week, I'm sorry, our next episode in 2 weeks, when we discuss everything that involves with the whole Marvel universe and with the movies that are coming out. There's a lot of movies coming out with Disney this year, so we'll be talking about that as we go along in the next episode. All right. We have some Disney park news. Disney Pixar Pier and Toy Story Land. So we'll start with Pixar Pier. Disney's Pixar Pier at Disney's California Adventure is slated to open June 23rd. The current home to Paradise Pier will introduce 4 new neighborhoods representing beloved Disney park stories. According to WFMY2 News, according to this article, this reimagined land and its 4 whimsical neighborhoods will include new themed attractions, foods, and merchandise. Guests will enter Pixar Pier through a new marquee, which will be topped by the iconic Pixar lamp later in the year. So they're going to incorporate the lamp, which I think that's kind of cool because, you know, you see the little lamp, you know it's a Pixar movie, you know this is going to be kind of a fun thing. So Pixar Pier will also include the Incredicoaster, which is a roller coaster featuring characters from The Incredibles, racing riders in high-speed adventure, and float from the popular Paint the Night Parade. So the Paint the Night Parade, that's another thing too. The Paint the Night Parade is coming back. This is going to be coming back on April 13th to Disney's California Adventure, and it's going to be exclusively to Disney's California Adventure Park. And it will be part of the first ever Pixar Fest celebration, which is slated to happen on Friday, April 13th. So again, Pixar Pier, June 23rd. If you are heading down to Anaheim, make sure you head on over to Disney's California Adventure Park, as the park will be opening its Pixar Pier. Now, a week later, Disney World says, hey, we want in on the action. So Disney's Toy Story Land has an official announcement, according to abcnews.com. The Toy Story Land, which is one of the most anticipated family attractions of 2018, has an official opening date. It was announced on Good Morning America that June 30th was the big day. To celebrate the announcement, Disney brought a piece of the new land right to New York City's Times Square. The Slinky Dog Dash is one of the many attractions in the new 11-acre Toy Story Land, which guests will shrink to the size of a toy and be surrounded by giant versions of their childhood toys. So I'm looking at some of the diagrams right here, and clearly this looks like it's going to be a park that is really going to cater to, you know, if you like Buzz Lightyear, Woody, Bo Peep, any of the Jesse as well, Slinky Dog. Really, you're going to be looking at a lot of different elements of the movies, which are going to be in this attraction.
I'm wondering how similar it is to. They already have a section of Hollywood Studios Park in Paris that is all Toy Story Land, and I haven't looked into how similar the two are.
Yeah, I kind of did. I had to do some quick research, and I it looks like it might be somewhat similar. What I'm guessing is that they probably used the Paris one just kind of as a test run to see how it would work over here in the United States. And so far, it looks like it's a attraction that really is going to hold its own. So I believe I'm trying to see here. It looks like this is going to be the Hollywood Studios is going to be getting the Toy Story Land attractions. So if you are going down there, make sure you head over to Disney's Hollywood Studios, and you will be able to experience Toy Story in a world all by itself. So,
Well, I think it helps that there's.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I hope it's as cool and immersive as Cars Land.
Well, Cars Land,
They
yeah.
actually have Cars Land is unique because they built the whole streets from the movie, and I realize they can't really do that with Toy Story, but I hope it's got the same sort of feel, like you are in the world of the toys the whole time.
Right. Well, and that's what it looks like. In fact, we'll as soon as this show's over, we'll actually post the photo onto the DisneyVerse Facebook page. Again, facebook.com/DisneyVerse, but it will be on there, and you'll be able to see what we're kind of looking at here. But from what it indicates and from what it looks like, this really is going to be an attraction kind of similar to Cars Land, where you have the immersion. Because I'll tell you what, I mean, ladies, I know we've talked about this before. I'm just repeating basically kind of like a broken record here, but it really feels like when you are at Cars Land that that you're a part of the movie, that you're not like, oh, this is just another, like it's not like Tomorrowland or Critter Country or whatever. I mean, you legitimately, especially when you're looking down the street at night when the lights are on and everything, it looks like you're in the park.
You are
Well,
in
it's just
Radiator
that's what they
Springs.
do perfect. It's what Disney does so well. It just they really know how to immerse you in different corners, and the way they have it set up, you kind of can't see much of anything else.
Right.
And once you leave Radiator Springs and you're heading in either direction, it changes in an interesting, gradual, but almost immediate way. I know that's an oxymoron, but it's just you move over to Bugs Land, and it's like suddenly now you're immersed in Bugs Land. And they really seem to have that down. And if they try that in the Pixar Pier, I think they're going to do a really good job based on the pictures I've seen.
Yeah,
And I
Well,
think
it's
that
a very fast turnaround for the construction time.
Yes.
They just closed down beginning of this year, and they're opening it this summer. That's not
Yeah.
a lot of time to overhaul everything.
I think
I mean-
I think Disney, and I'll interject on this one. I think Disney actually has really been under a lot of pressure lately because everyone's been seeing the whole Star Wars land getting ready to open up in the next year or two. If you go down to Disneyland right now, I don't know about Disney World, but I know people I've talked to that go to Disneyland. Main Street's under a ton of construction right now. Even we have other parts of the construction going on right now. So there was really that push that they had to get something done, because if you had all that construction going on and then you have Paradise Pier basically shut down for 6 months, there was a lot of pressure by saying, we understand that Disney's, a great place to go visit, but if we're spending that much money on the park features and everything, you kind of want to have something that's a little bit more open.
Right. And we were there the week when we were there for the last night before they closed Pixar Pier. And when they started putting up everything around Main Street, and it was just like, wow. And we took our nephew, who'd not been since he was 3. He's like, is this normal? I said, no, this is completely different. Normally they don't have this much down at one time. I was actually surprised when they said they were going to have the roller coaster up and running in time for Incredibles 2. I'm thinking, I know it's just an overlay, but still, that takes time to put up and make safe and make everything work. And I will be impressed if they really get it all open in June.
Well, and I
And
think what
6 months is not a lot of time.
it's not a lot of time, but I think what's helping them is the fact that a lot of the rides and the attractions are already there.
Yes.
Because the roller coaster that was the California Screaming
California Screaming.
is now going to be the Incredibles ride. And
Toy
they've
Story will still be there, and then they're going to um, they're going to do something with the carousel, so it's no longer Triton's carousel, but they
Right.
haven't actually said what that's going to be. And the new ride that'll go on the far side of Toy Story Mania has not yet been. They just said it was going to be a drop ride, but what kind it was going to be, what it was going to be, that's not going to open June. That's going to open later.
Yeah, concept art, I saw something that included what looked like Inside Out.
Yes, and they are saying that a part of the area is going to be inside out, and so that's what I'm thinking. That's going to be um, because I couldn't figure out where they were going to put the inside out. But trying to figure out from the concept art where they're going to put everything, I'm like, damn, that's going to be busy.
it'd be great if you know how a lot of times these Disney rides have like sponsors. What if they had like Inside Out presented by Kleenex or something? I think that would be fantastic. Because Autopia presented by Goodyear or Chevron or whatever gas station
Well,
they've
that's
got.
what they used to do. It always was that way. And Autotopia right now is presented by, I believe is it Honda or was that the old one?
Well, because I remember, okay, so like it's been a couple years, and I'm going back to Disney later this year, but I remember seeing, they had, if you're in the queue line at Cars and not Cars Land, I'm sorry, God, in the Autopia, we're talking about all these attractions at once. You talk about Autopia, you have, you're in the queue line, and then you see like the cars that have like the lights on and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Where they're talking, it's like, well, if I would have been in this in the car accident, I think that's Chevron.
That's not there anymore.
Okay, that's not
That
there
was
anymore.
Chevron, but then they completely redid it last year.
Okay.
And I can't remember who's doing it now. I'd have to look at my pictures.
Okay.
It wouldn't be the first time that a ride would have been sponsored by a company. There have been lots of sponsorships throughout the years.
I still think they should bring the World's Fair back.
Yeah.
So that is the Disney Parks news of it. By the way, for all the youngsters out there, we got word that Descendants 3 is a go, and Disney has released a trailer for that. That will be out sometime next year. And speaking of trailers, The Incredibles 2, if you've been watching the Olympic coverage, The Incredibles 2 trailer did come out this week. Looks pretty funny. Looks like the roles are reversed a little bit. Bob's staying home now and being maybe a stay-at-home dad, and the missus might be fighting crime herself. So
I love it.
I think it's great too, and that kind of goes with it doesn't have to just be the father's home, the father's working and the wife stays home. I mean, they're really breaking the stereotype of how things, as I'm using air quotes, you guys can't see it, but how they should be, which we know that's not the case. So anyway,
Yeah, that's never going to be the case.
exactly. So that's kind of your little news and notes surrounding Disney over the next couple of weeks. We'll usually do this at the beginning of each and every show. I talked to you about what's going on with Disney, but we talk about The Incredibles. Will The Incredibles be a part of the Academy Awards list, as Disney tends to usually be? They like to every year dominate the Academy Awards, and that's just how it is. So Disney has a very rich history, and our big topic today is the history of Disney with the Academy Awards. And I think you don't really have to lump in Disney with the Academy Awards. You can kind of lump in animation, although we've had a live-action Disney movie that we did have a Best Actress for, and that was Mary Poppins. I believe people have seen it. You may have heard about that movie. Yeah, may have heard about that movie. It's
Well, not everyone realizes that some of the early things that Disney was nominated for were not just short subject cartoons, but he was also known for his documentaries and his short subject live. He won a lot of those in the 40s and 50s.
And for anyone who is more of the modern Disney fan, you'll notice that Disney has been, over the last several years, especially on Earth Day, they really try to do the Earth Day documentaries, and that's kind of with the whole Disney route.
That actually started way back with Disney himself. He was fascinated with world cultures and
Mm-hmm.
nature and all of that. So he had been incorporating that into his movies and documentaries and TV shows way before the
Yes.
Disney nature things we have now.
The
Yes,
Disney
because
nature
I
things.
remember in the 70s, and then sometimes the world of Disney would actually be a documentary on regular TV. Never see that anymore. And I remember from the really old Mickey Mouse clubs back when Annette was part of it, where they would actually they'd go to cartoons, they'd go to these little documentaries, they'd go to these little how-to videos. It was like YouTube, but Disney created it.
It's amazing what Disney is just capable of doing. But, you know, it's something as simple as what Walt did back in the 30s. I mean, I'm looking at the list of Academy Awards,
Mm-hmm.
just Walt Disney. I'm not talking about anything else here. I'm just talking Walt Disney. You know, you're
Yeah.
looking at his Academy Awards list. He has a total of 26 Academy Awards just himself. I mean, you're not talking nominations. He's received 26 Academy Awards. He holds the record for most Academy Awards in history. He won 22 competitive Academy Awards.
Mm-hmm.
He's been nominated a total of 59 times. So, I mean, you know, he would be the Meryl Streep of, of the
Yes.
previous
And
Academy
what's
Awards.
wild, that was only over a 30-year period. So it
Yeah.
sounds like it's a big number, but then you realize it was just 30 years of the Academy. He got all those nominations, which means he got more than one a year most times.
Right.
There were some years he had 4 and 5 of them. He was like in 1954. I think he was every best short subject cartoon entry.
Yep. In fact, I'm looking at it right here. He had a best documentary. He had best
Yep.
a couple of best documentaries. Then he had 4 best short subjects. I'm still really bummed that Chitty Chitty Bang Bang hadn't won anything, but you know that's my nominations for Chitty Chitty Bang Bang will be heard by the Academy.
I do love that movie.
It you know, and that's the thing that I love because you know I love those old classic from like the 1960s or 1970s, like you know, Escape to Witch Mountain and Race to Witch Mountain. Not the rock one, guys. No, we're not talking about the rock one. We're talking back
That one
50s and
had its
60s.
place, but the original ones, and of course I'm partial to them because I grew up with those. But
Right.
but I absolutely love them, and I have in my immense collection of movies. I have all the ones I grew up with, and anytime they finally release them on DVD, it's like, yes, sold right here.
Now,
Okay, for this, I actually want to go all the way back to 1932,
okay.
where they basically created an Academy Award just because of Disney
Yep.
for his short cartoon Flowers and Trees.
Yes.
And this one was very, very special for a couple of reasons. It was the first Technicolor cartoon ever. And Disney actually made a deal with Technicolor where he was the only one allowed to use the new Technicolor, which was the newest, best, brightest colors, but it was very expensive, so nobody else had tried it. But he made a contract with Technicolor that he was the only one allowed to use it for 5 years,
Yeah.
which everybody thought was crazy and expensive. And he was almost done making Flowers and Trees when he made that deal. He scrapped the entire thing and made them start over.
Now, if I
I'm a
look at
perfectionist.
now as we look back into that, I do kind of want to maybe take a step forward just a little bit because as I'm looking at the Academy Awards for this year, as we all know, when you look at you know Disney and an Academy Award, really at this point in time now, you're looking at more for best animated feature film, and then you look at the music. I mean, there's other features on there, but those are pretty much the 2 primary ones you're looking
Yeah.
at. And you're looking at Disney, and Disney does have a nominee. The "Remember Me" song from Coco is on there, and Coco
Oh,
is also
yes.
nominated for best animated feature film as well. Now, if you
This
look
is
at
also a category created for Walt Disney
yes,
because, well, not Walt Disney, but the Disney Studios, because the Academy has had a history of not liking anything that was a comedy, a musical, or a cartoon in their Best Picture race.
right,
So it was kind of Mary Poppins was a real fluke.
Well, you'll see those more in the Golden Globes because they're not, they're kind of in their own genre of how they look at. The animated feature film nominees are, you have Boss Baby, The Breadwinner, which looks like has received, it's more of an independent film, but it has received a bunch of winning awards. Then, of course, you have Coco, Ferdinand, and Loving Vincent is the nominees for Best Original Feature Film in Animation. And then in the music for the original song, you have Mighty River from the movie Mudbound, Mystery of Love from the movie Call Me By Your Name, Remember Me by Coco, Stand Up for Something from Marshall, and then This Is Me from The Greatest Showman. And I'll tell you what, I've seen The Greatest Showman. There's a ton of great songs on there. There's a ton of those on there. So
Yeah.
the song's going to be difficult. The animated feature could be a little bit difficult, but for the most part, if you look at the history with Disney, you look at all the wins that they've had, it's really the Disney animated feature film presented by Honda. So
Well, the last time that Disney didn't get an award was 2002. It's
See.
been a while.
Yeah, I mean Disney, they can let it go a little bit, they can let it go. But keep in mind, you look at Disney, you think most of the time you think about, okay, well, they're going to win Best Feature Film for animation. I mean, you're looking at some of these movies. You have the Jungle Book, you've got let's see here. The Muppets. The Muppets is a live action feature film as well. Pirates of the Caribbean, Best Visual Effects. I mean, there's a lot of different things that Disney really does that promotes themselves as really something that that really is distinctively different from anything else.
This
Yes.
year for visual effects, we got Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 and Star Wars The Last Jedi.
Oh, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
Who put the most putty on one person's face? Then the winner goes to Star Wars. Scar.
Well, on an interesting related note, the Oscars used to have this thing called the Juvenile Award. It was a juvenile Oscar. It was kind of like Best New Star, Fresh New Star. It's not what they called it. It was always a special honorary award, usually they'll give it for a movie, but it wasn't like Best Actress that you normally see now. The last one was actually given in 1961 to the star of a Disney movie, and that would be Miss Haley Mills in Pollyanna.
Pollyanna.
That's cool.
I haven't seen that.
Have you guys never seen Pollyanna?
I've never seen
I
Pollyanna.
not have,
Well,
but I
it's
was
all,
born in
yeah.
the 80s, so there's that.
Oh. Well, it's been on TV a few thousand times since then, but it was a great movie. It's very much a 1960s movie, although it takes place in the 1800s. And it's about a little girl who brings joy to a town. She's got a sour, rich aunt, and she's an orphan, of course. And
Well, it is a Disney movie, so there's either a dead uncle or a dead family member in there.
I've read
actually, the book is older than
book.
Disney.
yeah. I've read
It's
the book.
based on a book. See, you're good. Yeah. So, but I love Haley Mills. I've always been a big fan of hers, and her connection with Disney has always been something really fun for me.
It's been around for a long time. I mean, she really has a long history
Yes.
of that.
And it's interesting how many people who may have won awards for non-Disney movies often got their start or their big breaks from Disney. And it's really wild when you watch a show or a movie you haven't watched in years and you're looking at it, you're going, oh my God, I know who that person is. That person became somebody. When did that happen? You know? But I think that the studio kind of had a knack for finding talent. Sometimes they manufactured it a little bit, but they really had a knack for finding young people who grew up to become people we all know now. And Christian Bale is a great example.
Where is she? No, just kidding.
Can you not hear me anymore?
No, I was doing from Batman. Where is she?
Oh.
Sorry. Where is
I was
she?
thinking about Newsies, and then before that, Empire of the Sun, although that was a Steven Spielberg, but we love it anyway.
No, but I mean,
But,
but yeah, I mean that kind of goes with not just Disney film. It's Disney like television and music. I mean, we talked about Justin Timberlake and Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera all being on the Mickey Mouse Club. And, you look at all the Disney stars that are on television that got their start on television. The modern people, for anyone who doesn't know Demi Lovato. I mean, everyone knows who Demi Lovato and Selena Gomez, and you get all these different people on there. And I mean, it's just they really produce stars, and it's not like Disney's not like aware that, oh yeah, well I hope they're going to stick around forever. They realize that they only have like 5 or 6 years, so they have to kind of get the most out of them before it's like, okay, they got to, it's time to go. So as we're looking at the list of the Academy Awards, and you guys brought up a very good point. I mean, really, best short subject in a cartoon, best documentary, best short subject. I mean, there's just nominations. I mean, Walt literally owned for a long period of time. This really started in 1932, and it really went all the way up to 1960. He did have a couple best short subject nominations, but really it was starting to die down when his health started getting deteriorating. The last one he did win was a best short subject live action called The Grand Canyon, which I've actually seen that. I saw that in school. That was actually really, really well done. And then the final one he had was actually the one where they pass away and they're like, okay, well, I would say Posthumous or
It's one of those words that never sounds right when you say it.
Exactly.
Posthuman.
Posthuman. Jeez. Posthumous, yeah. 1969 best short subject cartoon, Winnie the Pooh and the Blustery Day, which
I used to watch that.
Yeah.
All the time. That used to be the movie we watched at my grandma's house. We'd go over, Pooh Bear would go on.
Yeah. So there you go. So Disney really had for many, many years when he was alive, really just basically the hands by the throat of the Academy Awards, even just nominations. I mean, he would have that. I mean, I wonder if Walt, like, he saw, like, if you look at one of the years he had, okay, let's look, for example, he had, he was the only one that got nominated for best short subject. There's like 4 different nominations, and they're all him. He's probably like, okay, which one do I think should win? If you look at 1954, he had the Toot, Whistle, Plunk, and Boom, and then Rugged Bear, Bear Country, and Ben-Ami. He's like, well, I really kind of liked Bear Country, but Ben-Ami really felt something differently. So he knew he was going to win. It was just which speech he had to go for. Thank you to our insert here people that won this award. So that made this film popular, everything was popular. So so the Oscars are next Sunday, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, live on ABC. Cheap plug. Hopefully someone from ABC's hearing us here. It's going to be another 17.5-hour extravaganza full of pulls that. But here's the funny thing, and I know we're kind of jumping a little off Disney, which I'm okay with every now and then. This is going on at the exact same time as the closing ceremonies for the Winter Olympics.
I kind of wondered. I mean, it's like, this is not going to work out, guys. I'm just going to tell you now.
No, it's not going to work because it's really, okay, do I record the Academy? I mean, I know that the Academy Awards will still be going on before the Winter Olympics. I mean, we might be in the Winter Olympics of 2020 or 2022, whenever the next one is, before they finish the Academy Awards. But yeah, it's like, okay, who do you pick? I mean, Terry, I'll start with you. If you're watching one thing live and watching the recording, is it the Academy Awards or is it the Olympic closing ceremonies?
I am like the worst person to ask this because I've literally watched neither.
That's why I'm asking you first. That's why you're first.
I will catch the highlights later.
Okay.
Of both.
I'll watch the Academy Awards. I've watched it every year since I was a little girl. It's my mother's fault. And
that explains it.
There was that previous career as an actress, so it was kind of a big deal. And now I'm kind of like, I just got to watch it because I got to watch it. It's required by law in my family.
I am.
Yeah, my mom's an actress, so I'll watch it at their house if I'm over. They'll have it.
There you go.
Yeah, and some people, like, I went to last year I went to a Academy Award viewing party. And that was like the first time I ever done that. And that was kind of fun because there was like, okay, who do you think's gonna win this one? And I'm like, okay, best cinematography in a foreign film. Okay, let me see here. I'm like, I have no freaking. I don't know. I don't know. Like, I wonder if they like plan these things in advance for like bathroom breaks. Okay, we're gonna have like best foreign film and in a second language with the hearing impaired or something. All these different ones.
People have won Academy Awards and have been in the bathroom.
Well, I don't know if I want to do that. I mean, unless you want to watch on your phone, which is kind of interesting, I guess. But it's like, okay, I'll take my bathroom break during the all that. But no, seriously, I'm interested in the opening monologue, and also the people who pass away, which is that hippopotami award thing. But
I hate that one. It always makes me cry, even if I don't know.
Always.
well, I know. Well, it's not just that.
Like tons of people I don't know, like producers and stuff, and I'm like, cool. I'm glad. Obviously, I probably know some of your work, but it just makes me sad. Like, you're dead now. And I
Yeah.
didn't even know.
Well, and they would be like, okay, we're talking about someone who, like you'd be like an agent or something like that. This person represented 17 actresses you've never heard of, but we're gonna make sure that we give him a special tribute.
Well, yeah.
Also, it always makes me a little sad when, like, some people get like person was a writer back in the day, and right next to it is an A-list actor that passed away, and everybody like gets really loud with their clapping. I'm like, oh, right before.
It's like when you have like the family member. It's like it's like a family member, and you're actually breaking up pretty badly here. It's like when you have like okay, here's like a publicist who's like oh well, there's like 3 people clapping, and then there's like someone and they're like, oh, they're all clapping and everything, and then like the family of that publicist is like, that may not be the best. Yeah, I know. So, but it's really sad. I mean, it's really sad when you have people who pass away in the Academy Awards. It's just a sad thing to have, and then it's I mean, it's kind of a sick little thing I have, but it is what it is. It's pretty funny. So. Hey, I'm just being honest. I'm not lying. I'm being totally honest.
Yeah, if we're being honest, sadly, I actually usually recognize probably 90% of the names. But
No,
that's
that's a
because
good
I'm
thing.
really weird. But
See, you do your research. You're like, okay, who? Let's see. Vicky's like, I'm going to Wikipedia first. All right, so let's take a look here. We've got this person. All right.
some of them I actually know because I'm big fans of their movies, even if they're just cinematographers or special effects. I have weird likes, and for me, I actually like all the ins and outs, and so especially the older ones. I'm talking the ones from the 30s, the 40s, the golden age.
Right.
I know most of those names. The newer ones I struggle with. I have trouble with anyone after 1990.
Yeah, it's like
Fewer of them that were working in the 50s working now.
There are some,
That was
yes.
just an explosion.
Yes.
yeah, and it's going to be that way for a while. It probably will get worse before it gets.
Well, yeah, because we've reached the time period where so many of them. I mean, when Martin Landau died, for me that was devastating. He was a huge idol of mine.
Wow.
And so but most of my idols are that age and older. So, like, I was just thinking about Olivia de Havilland. She's 101 years old.
Holy cow.
Most people would know her as Melanie from Gone with the Wind,
Right.
but she did, 100 other movies. And she hasn't died yet. And every day I'm like really worried because she's one of the last of my idols that's still alive.
We did like a Deadpool. I know we're like way off Disney right now, but did you? I did this thing like a Deadpool, where it would be like and everyone would always have Bob Hope, and like Bob Barker is like the first pick. I'm gonna take Bob Hope with my first pick, but you would take like the older actor or actress, and then you would take someone that's more of a modern, like in the case that they have like a overdose or something. I don't know. We are demented. I don't know.
We are. But that's okay. That's why we're kind of fun.
That's right. That's right. Well, that's pretty much Disney's look at the Academy Awards. Ladies, do you guys want to add anything else to that, Terry, Vicki?
Well, I don't know if everyone realizes this, but he did get a special. Oh, What'd you say, Terry?
I was gonna say we have to mention his Snow White award.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Award ever.
Yeah, there was that movie Snow White. Yes, we remember that. Snow White.
And Shirley Temple presented him with one large honorary statuette and 7 smaller ones. But before even that, in 19 he actually got, in essence, they didn't call it a lifetime achievement at that point, but in 1932 he got an honorary statue for the creation of Mickey Mouse.
That's true. That's absolutely true.
How many people get even an honorary Oscar for creating something?
Walt Disney gets that, yeah.
Yep.
Jeez.
And you can go visit the Snow White one, and there's a case of like 20 different ones at the Walt Disney Family Museum in San Francisco. Go do it. Do
Absolutely.
it.
As soon as
It's so cute,
snowing, sweetie.
Right?
You guys are like all trying to like.
Oh goodness! I just looked outside. It's snowing really hard.
Yes.
Yes, I can't see my back deck anymore.
It's a Christmas miracle.
Winter finally came.
Winter, yeah. So we haven't had winter here
No.
all this year. It's been a very
We've
very
had second
difficult.
fall.
Yes, it's been a really difficult Christmas. Well, not really Christmas, but just a year for us for wet weather. But we're finally getting there.
I mean, it's
See, now
pretty.
it would be- yeah. I'm just thankful I have tomorrow off. I know not everyone does, but I'm thankful I do not have to go to work tomorrow.
I don't, but my wife does.
Oh,
At
tell
5
her I'm
o'clock in the
sorry.
morning. Yeah, 5 o'clock in the
Oh.
morning. That's gonna be fun.
Tell her to bundle up and good luck.
Right?
Yeah, it's going to be very very cold. It makes me want to just drink hot chocolate and put schnapps in there or something. Just to. Hey, I'm just trying to make sure I'm warm. That's not what I want.
There you go. That works.
So, by the way, I'm playing Home Alone music right now on the podcast. I don't know if you guys can hear it or not, but
Actually, I can.
oh, you
I'm
can.
getting little bits.
Yeah, it's a little quiet, but I can hear it.
Yes.
Oh, okay. In my name.
That's the first time that I actually hear
Yay!
something.
Yeah.
Yay! Finally worked. Anyway, so we'll turn it off. All right, folks. Well, I think that's going to do it for this episode. Vicki and Terry, thank you so much for joining me here today. We will be off next week, watching the Academy Awards or Winter Olympics. I haven't decided yet, but your connection was breaking up really bad there, Terry. What were you just saying?
I was joking, not watching the Academy Awards.
Oh.
I'm watching the
Oh, okay, I gotcha. So, well, that's going to do it. Lady, thank you very much for joining me here today. I appreciate that as always.
Absolutely.
If you would like to contact the show again, we'll go through the links again. DisneyVerse on Facebook, facebook.com/DisneyVerse is the best way to get in touch with the program. You can also hit us up on Twitter at DisneyVersePod. Gmail, Facebook, DisneyVersePodcast@gmail.com. There's like 17 different things we got to go through, but DisneyVersePodcast@gmail.com is the best way to get in touch with the program via email. In 2 weeks, we're a little late on our beginning of the movie season, but everyone should be back next week. This week actually, we'll be going through the movies of 2018. Of course, Black Panther's out there. There's also other ones. There's a Nutcracker coming out later this year. We've got some more Disney movies on tap. And it will be not just Disney, but it also will be Marvel as well. So there's a lot of different things we're going to talk about on that. So with that being said, thank you so much for joining us here today. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the video. And, of course, always remember